NASCAR's Garage 56 entry finished the 24 hours at Le Mans and won their class. But technically a win. They were the only one in their class, but they won their class. In the words of the U.S. president, the first president, the guy who beat the British in the Revolutionary War, George Washington, what the heck is a kilometer? Yeah, that'll show him. No, but for real, the NASCAR entry finished Le Mans. It finished the 24 hours. It was really great. They didn't crash out. They had a slight mechanical issue that they took about an hour to fix in the garage. But they finished. They finished the race. They saw the checkered flag, which is really cool. They finished 285 laps, which according to my calculations, which took a very fancy calculator, also known as my phone calculator, the 8.467 mile track times 285. That is about 2,413 miles. More than 4 Coca-Cola 600s, more than 6 400-mile Cup races, and just short of 5 500-mile Cup races. So essentially a lot of NASCAR Cup races run in terms of mileage for the Le Mans car. But really cool story. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, the in-race updates. The Cup car even got up into the top 30 at some time. A little bit over the halfway point. I went to bed at 2:30 last night. Woke up again at 7:30 this morning. Just keeping up with it, watching the race, leaderboard. Even though I will say the leaderboard website is trash. They got to fix that. Like, it would take forever to load. And then when it did load, it only loaded like 10 cars. And like, you wouldn't know what was going on. Sometimes the Hendrick car loaded, sometimes it didn't. So like, it was a guessing game. They got to fix that website. Anyways, point being, they were up in the top 30, which is really, really good. They were beating all the GTE series. They had gained a couple of spots from hypercars and LMP2 cars crashing or having mechanical failures, whatever it may be. So, they were up in the top 30. They were doing really, really good, looking really, really good. And then they had an issue. The Garage 56, their official social media said, on lap 254, the number 24 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 developed an issue and was brought back to the garage by Jenson Button. We have a driveline issue and the team is working to repair it now. The goal remains to finish the race. Chad Knaus. So yeah, I think that was the whole objective of this race. There was no way this car was going to obviously win the overall thing. And when you're in a class that you're the only one in your class because the Garage 56 entry is for innovation, an innovated car that's it's not entirely, competing for the win, but it's the only one in its class. So, you're kind of in that middle ground of you're competing, yes, but you're not going to win, but you're also the only one in your class, so you can't lose. It's kind of a win-win situation, I guess. You can't lose. But point being that I think the whole goal of this weekend was to finish the 24 hours, to be there at the end. And they did just that. They finished the race. They ended up in a respectable position, 39th. Ended up being the finishing result. Obviously, it could have been better if it wasn't for that driveline issue, but I don't think there's any room for disappointment here. All the drivers did great. They kept it on the track. Jimmie Johnson gets his first 24-hour Le Mans. Jenson Button, I don't know if he's done it before. Rockenfeller, I think has won the 24 hours of Le Mans. But all three of them, great job driving the whole team. The pit crew, won the pit crew challenge last week. Everyone who worked on the car, built the car, did a great job with it. It was one of the biggest headlines, I think. Everyone's talking about how loud the engine is. Everyone's talking about how cool the car is. It's so much bigger than all these other sports cars that are much smaller, more aerodynamic looking and, lighter, all that stuff. And then the NASCAR, it's so big and bulky and it powers through and it's loud and all this. So really grabbing the headlines and that kind of stuff. So that was really cool to see everyone talking about it. And the number 24 Le Mans entry ends up finishing 39th. Really good job. The driver splits, I actually have those here. I didn't think I was going to be able to get them. Jimmie Johnson drove for 7 hours, 6 minutes, and 22 seconds for a grand total of 97 laps. Mike Rockenfeller drove for 6 hours, 49 minutes, 47 seconds for a grand total of 91 laps. And then Jenson Button drove 97 laps, and he did 7 hours, 25 minutes, and 44 seconds. So, yeah, that's your split there. Jimmie Johnson, Jenson Button, they did the same amount of laps. Jenson Button did the most time. I think he had a lot under the safety car, though, in some rain conditions as well. So I think that's why there was such a big time split, a 20-minute or a 20-minute split there, because there were a lot of safety cars in this race. Ferrari won, by the way. Ferrari, like, oh my gosh, they didn't explode, they didn't crash, they didn't have an F1 Ferrari moment. But so I said 285 for the Cup car. Ferrari, the winner, had 342 laps, so 57 laps behind the leaders. Those hypercars are insane. They're insanely fast. There was no chance of the Cup car winning unless like all the hypercars and MP2s crashed. But as I said, like a really respectable result, a really happy result. It seems like everyone is happy with this result. A lot of positive news, a lot of positive eyeballs on NASCAR. Everyone is really happy for him. Jimmie Johnson, Mike Rockenfeller, Jenson Button, once again, fantastic job to all three of them. The training that they've done, the work on the car, all the testing that they've had to do on this car, and then showing up to France, showing up to Le Mans, doing 24 hours, night and day. That's what 24 hours is. And to complete this race, it's something that they get to add on their very already long resume. So, very cool to see this. Very cool to see NASCAR and Le Mans getting international attention, getting to compete with some of these teams, these well-known teams, these high-performance teams, these teams that know this race very, very well. Very cool to see that they were able to compete with them. Very cool to see how fast they were. Very cool to see a NASCAR car on this historic, iconic track in the 100th running. I think it's the 100th running of it. So, very big deal. Very cool to see all the people who worked on that car. Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick was there. I think Jeff Gordon was there too. So, some of the Hendrick higher-ups there. Obviously, Chad Knaus, I think he was one of the heads of this project. But, yeah, really, really cool. Really, really cool. I don't think I ever would have guessed I would have seen a NASCAR car at Le Mans. But here we are in 2023. We saw a NASCAR car at Le Mans. So to sum it up, 39th place finish, 285 laps complete, just under 2,500 miles complete. 3 drivers did great jobs. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. I don't think I'm missing anything else. It's, as I said, they had the live updates on the NASCAR website talking about it. They got a lot of pictures of the car, but really cool to see. It was weird to see a NASCAR car with headlights. I'll add that in there. That was a little bit weird to see, but, still cool. The glow-in-the-dark number was cool. There's a lot of at-track pictures. You can Google them, watch the race highlights, whatever, but really cool to see, really cool to hear the NASCAR car at Le Mans. And I think that's it. Yeah. We got a cup race at Sonoma here in a few hours. That'll be an interesting one. We'll see how that one goes. Denny Hamlin is on pole for that race. Who's my race pick today? I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. Toyota's looking much better on the road courses this year than they have in the past. Or by the past, I mean last year. They were bad at road courses last year, but they look much better. They're on the front row. Ty Gibbs is 6th, Truex is 8th, and this is Truex's best road course. I'm going to go with Truex. So let me know who your race pick is, and let me know what your thoughts were on the 24 Hours of Le Mans, whether it's the race itself, the Garage 56 entry. It was really cool to see this. Really, really cool. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. I got to get going here. But I'll see you after the race at Sonoma. If you're not a NASCAR fan, you just saw the Garage 56 entry or were interested in that, well, if you got time, if it's not like 3 a.m. where you are, find a way to watch the NASCAR race at Sonoma. It's a road course, so they're not only turning left this week. How about that?